Boerne Radio's Town Hall program is paid for by Wheeler for Congress. And welcome to a very special Boerne Radio Town Hall meeting. It's just me and Mike Wheeler.
Thank you, Baron.
How are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
Mike, you are running for Congress, District 21, sir. What a mountain you are charging up, my friend. Before we get into all the politics and the issues, how are you? What's it like being out on the road and knocking on doors and having something to do 24/7?
It's pretty exciting. I love the competition. I'm 58 years old. I thought those days of when you were in athletics or when I was in my career, I thought my days of competition were gone, but I feel those juices right now.
Well, good, yeah. You got to feel that adrenaline.
Yeah, it's fun.
And a lot of chicken.
And a lot of chicken, yeah. But I love talking to the people. That's my favorite part about it.
Well, guess what? You came to my door here a couple of weeks ago. That was kind of neat.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, Mike, I know you. Keep going here. But
exactly.
You're out there
beating
the streets and having a good time.
I love door knocking. I didn't think I would like it at first, but I really enjoy it.
Well, it's not your first time, my friend, because you came to my house before when you were helping somebody else. You've been serving in Kendall County for a long time.
Yeah, I was knocking on doors for President Trump in 2024 as chairman. Yeah.
And you served this past year.
Yeah, I served for the president in this past year as a senior advisor.
What'd you do?
I was at the Small Business Administration. My primary role, it's like when you get there, you think they probably have a list of things for you to do, right? But doesn't work that way. You have to go out and search your projects, basically. Wow. At least that was the way it worked for me. And my project was reshoring American manufacturing jobs to the United States, mainly from China. How do we get those industries set up and going here in the United States so that we reduce our leverage that China has on us on the supply chains?
Did you get a win in all that?
I mean, it's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long, hard process, but it was a start, and it's encouraging to know that the administration is working towards that goal.
Well, excellent.
But it was an amazing experience for me because when I was a little boy, my dad lost his job to overseas. He was working in a small manufacturing plant, and it was gone, and it really hurt our family.
Yeah.
So for me to actually go to Washington and work for their administration and start trying to bring those jobs back was a pretty cool feeling.
Eye-opening, I'm sure. You're learning a lot here in this season.
Yes.
Well, again, before we kind of get into the issues, I want people to know who Mike Wheeler is. So kind of tell who you are, why Kendall County, why Boerne?
Let's see. I was born in New Hampshire. That's where I came from. But I became a bit of a nomad for a while because I'm kind of the American dream. I am the American dream. I came from very humble beginnings, but was able to get an amazing education and work my way up. And I had a great job, and it took me to all over the world. And my last New York and London, and my last role was in London for about 12 years. But my family has been here in the Hill Country. My extended family has been here in the Hill Country for years, 25 or 30 years. And I'd always been coming here for holidays, and my grandmother was here. And so I would come to visit and all that. And I just love the Hill Country. I always have loved it. Yeah. And we'd been looking to move here for quite some time when our time traveling around working was done. So it was kind of an easy choice to be here.
Of course.
Very similar to New Hampshire, actually, as far as the independence of the people. The weather is a bit different.
Exactly, a little bit.
Other than that. But yeah, I love it here, and this is where we're going to stay.
So in my mind, though, where did your values come from? Because New Hampshire and that whole East Coast thing is not like Texas.
No, but New Hampshire used to be. It used to be, it was Reagan country. It used to be very red. Live free or die is our motto. Very similar people to Texas, very independent.
Come and take it now.
Yeah, come and take it. It's very similar to that. Like, you think about that. Come and take it and live free or die. It was very similar. Unfortunately, Massachusetts has moved in. It's much like the rest of the country. So yeah, it's changed. It's more purple now than anything.
That's a concern for us Texans too, with people coming here and their values coming in here. And so how do you feel about that? And again, this rising tide of socialism in our country. What do you speak to that?
Yeah, well, when I was chairman of the party here, that was one of my main goals, was to keep Kendall County red as we could. That came through education, hard work. But I found out that most of the people that are moving here actually are moving to get away from where they were. Most of them. Some of them are not, but most of them were. Kendall County is just a small microcosm of what's going on in the country as a whole. And so as much as I love local politics, as much as I love the local party, and I want to keep Kendall County red, I also want to keep our U.S. values. I'm very concerned about the spread of socialism through our country. now that about 60% of those under 30 years old are accepting of some sort of socialism out there. And my theory behind that is that life has become so unaffordable for them that they're unable to actually see the American dream ahead of them. They think that no matter how hard I work, I won't be able to achieve it. I think what they're doing is throwing their arms up and saying, if I can't have it, then nobody can have it. I think that's really sad. I think it's really dangerous for our country. And instead of pointing our fingers at kids for living in their basements, playing video games all day, what we should be doing is coming up with solutions to turn that tide. And I think whichever party figures that out first will be the one in charge for the next generation.
Yes, sir. We're talking with Mike Wheeler, MikeWheelerForCongress.com. You've got all your ideas kind of spelled out on your website, so go check that out. If you want to email, info@MikeWheelerForCongress.com. And Mike, I see a phone number on here. Are we allowed to give this out?
Yeah, go right ahead.
210-505-5210. And again, if you want to volunteer, what are your needs right now?
If you want to volunteer, if you want to just talk to me about the issues, because every vote counts. And a lot of people are doing their research right now, and I'm happy to discuss why me.
Okay, that's the question. Why you? There's right now, as we're recording this, there's still 11 guys vying for this one seat for Congress in District 21. So what sets you apart?
Well, I like to set it out this way. I think everybody in the race is a true conservative at this point. But what is it that separates me out? What are you going to get from me that you can't get from the others?
Yeah.
Some of the bigger issues as I travel around the district are the expansion of Sharia law. The boys and girls bathrooms and girls sports is still a big issue we want to prevent. That only American citizens vote in our elections, so voter ID. These are all really important issues as a conservative.
Yes.
But I believe we all share those same concerns. And it doesn't take any special gift or skills to fight for those issues. It just takes common sense and effort. And I think we all share that in common. And what I think separates me out is my experience I traded bonds for a living for 25 years. And for those that don't know what that is, you actually trade the debt of companies and countries. So you spend your time learning what works, what doesn't, what happens when you have too much debt, how can you reduce the debt, which companies do it the best, which countries do it the best. So that's what I did for my whole career. And when you start studying what's wrong with the United States, the national deficit, to me, is the epicenter of the problems. It's the base of what could put us under as a country, what could destroy us with 38 trillion of debt. And if you got a second, I'd love to tell you why it's a problem.
That's the whole point of this program.
Right.
Tell us why it's a problem.
So the reason it's a problem is because 10 years ago, the amount of interest, so it's not the 38.5 trillion. That's the big number, but it's the interest on that that's gonna make the problem. So 10 years ago, 7% of all tax receipts collected in the United States went to pay for interest. Today, that number is 20%.
Oh, my.
And it's going to 25% in the next 3 to 5 years, probably. That's without any more shocks. We've been around the last 20 or 30 years. How many shocks to the system have we had? Right? COVID, the housing crisis in 07, 08, 09. If we had one of those shocks, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to get through it this time. Because we just don't have the capability. We have so much debt that we can't dig into anything else. 75% of all our government spending is mandatory. That's on interest, it's on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. That's something Congress doesn't have anything to say about other than we can reform it, certainly. But 75% of our spending is gone every year, these mandatory systems. 25% is discretionary. That is Department of War, that is education, transportation, health and human services, all the parks, all of that. You have 75% mandatory, 25% discretionary, right? But then 25% interest. So you're at 125%. How are you going to come up with that 25% interest that you have to pay?
Well, we'll just get our debtors to forgive us.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. But that's what you do. You print money. You print debt. That's what you do. So, and what happens when you do that? It's runaway inflation. And that's what I'm concerned about is, every year we're looking at $1.5 trillion to $2 trillion of added debt. And at some point, what happens is the market says this interest rate is not appropriate for the level of risk I'm taking. And they start demanding more higher interest rate. When that happens, it's all cannonballs on each other and collapses.
I want to talk about a few more issues, Mike Wheeler, MikeWheelerForCongress.com. I think about going into Congress. What's the percentage, what's their favorability rate today?
They have a 17% favorability rate.
Yeah. I mean, you're walking into not a fun, it's not a popularity contest,
No,
you know?
no.
Why are you signing up for this?
Well, they never hold anybody accountable, whether it's COVID, lawfare. I just don't see them holding people accountable. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
They don't do anything about the spending. They continue to spend like it's their money. Mm-hmm. They're not getting anything done. It's both parties.
Yeah.
It's not just the Democrat Party. It's the Republican Party as well. And I think one of the bigger problems is special interest. If we can't get anywhere on healthcare because of big pharma and insurance companies, because they have too much influence. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars funding these congressional campaigns. It's a problem because then when you get to Congress, you owe them. Endorsements, same thing. When you see an endorsement out there, I tell people, who's giving the endorsement?
Follow the money.
And what are you going to owe after you get that endorsement? It's the major problem with our country, and I'm not ready to give up on it. Yeah. So I'm going to Washington, and I'm making a personal pledge to not take money from big pharma or insurance companies. I'm not going to take any money from big tech or environmental firms. It's something that I feel very passionately about. I feel very passionately about term limits. That's one thing I've really learned on this campaign. Going up against an incumbent is virtually impossible because of the money. I'm also very upset that Congress are allowed to get rich off of going to Washington.
Yep.
They can pass a bill and then buy a stock that benefits from that bill and get wealthy off of it. When I was a trader, I had to jump through so many hoops to be able to buy a stock.
All right.
It shouldn't be that easy for a congressman or a congresswoman. So I believe in putting our money in a blind trust so that we don't have any access to it. There's a lot of problems with Congress. And the biggest problem is that too many people owe too many favors to too many other people. And that's what I want to go work on. That's what I want to go fix. I like term limits. Oftentimes, we're told to sign a pledge for term limits. But the problem is, term limits will never get on the floor of the House of Representatives.
How come?
They don't want to fire themselves.
Yeah.
They perpetuate their jobs. Imagine if they did a term limit of 6 to 8 years, they know they're
done.
The gravy train's over.
Yeah.
So I believe that it has to be an individual choice. And I want to sign a personal pledge to people that I'm going to have a term limit. And I want to put pressure on other congressmen and congresswomen that they should be signing this as well.
A big topic for Texas. Let's turn it over now to the border and immigration.
Yeah, immigration there's so much more to do because none of President Trump's executive orders have been codified. It has to be done. That's another example of Congress not doing anything. They haven't, back to spending, they've only rescinded a very small percentage of what DOJ found, right? But back to immigration, it needs to be structured so that there is legal immigration, right? That it's based on, in my belief, that it's based on merit. That if you're coming to our country, which is my great-grandparents came to this country. We're all basically immigrants,
right?
But they came to this country because they could add more than they took, right? And so we need to get back to that. If you're not going to add more to our country than what you're taking away from it, you shouldn't be here. If you're coming to our country to go to Columbia University and become a terrorist supporter, you shouldn't be here.
Right.
If you're here on a school visa and you're going to take all of our information and technology and then you're going to go back to China, you shouldn't be here. A lot of things have to be changed. I do think there needs to be some sort of legal immigration, but we've been put in such a hole. That's why I support the Pause Act, because we do need to take a pause and see what the heck is going on,
right?
And how do we fix it?
And I won't beep out the word heck that you just said.
Yeah,
that's pretty strong language there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. No, but I do believe it needs to, we have people coming to the country just to have kids. Birthright citizenship needs to be changed.
Well, these immigrants, it's been said that they've been lied to. They've been told you can come and, drink the milk.
No, but like there's so many issues. You have these H-1B visas, if you know what those are. If people out there knows what that is when companies can basically just hire foreigners to come into our country and work on the premise that we don't have the skills here in this country to fill those positions. Now, I don't think that's true. And if it is true, then shame on the companies and shame on the universities for not teaching our kids the proper stuff. I have ideas for that. I want to phase out the H-1B process. I think the free markets will figure this out. And if a company does not have the qualified individuals, then it's up to the company to start helping and partnering with the schools to develop those kids. Only 41% of our kids that are graduating university actually get a job in the field of their study.
Right.
There's plenty of talent here in the United States. We just need to start forcing people to use it.
This guy is going through it myself with my kids and the university system and their student debt, which is just ridiculous. School choice is a big topic now in Texas. And so on the topic of education, what are the top priorities for you?
I want kids to have a transparent choice when they're leaving high school. So I want you to be able to go to your guidance counselor. And you remember when you went to your guidance counselor, they'd say, here are the 5 schools that you should apply to. So instead of that, I want it to be, what do you want to do next? And if somebody says, I want to be an art history major, then okay, that's fine, great. I want that guidance counselor to pull up the average salary for a art history major for the next 10 years after college. I want them to know how much debt they're going to have from student debt. I want them to know what their rent approximately will be, what their car payment, what their credit cards. And if they see that and say, well, I'm going to be charging $20,000 a year to my credit card because I can't afford to live, maybe they choose another major. Maybe they choose another field.
Right.
Maybe they choose engineering. Maybe they choose to be a doctor. Or maybe they choose to become a welder. Maybe they go into the trades. Maybe it's a plumber, an HVAC. You can make a lot of money at that.
You can.
And you
by
don't
going to Champion High School.
By going to Champion High School. Yeah, it's true. And I want kids to have that option. It's got to be transparent. We also have to hold these universities accountable. Right now, if a gender studies major is given by Harvard University or my school, University of Michigan, they're making $45,000 a year and they can't service their $200,000 of debt. You and I, Joe Taxpayer, picks up the bill if they can't afford it. That to me is not right. It should be on the school that has given out that degree. They should be the securitization for that loan, not us, right? In what world can you go get a loan with no credit score, no ability to pay it back? That has to change.
Mike Wheeler, I really appreciate your passion coming over, spilling out all over this table here at the Boerne Radio Studios. As we are in just up the road from Military City, USA, a lot of retired veterans, military folks are here in the Hill Country. What a great place to spend the greatest time of their lives here. Speak to our veterans and to our military members here and how you'd represent them.
Yeah, well, let's take an example.
Okay.
We have Fort Sam Houston right down the road from us. Right. So Army North and Army South have already been moved from Fort Sam to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Lackland just got denied an elevated status for cyber, which means that Lackland will now not get $1 billion to build a brand new state-of-the-art facility. The reason this is happening is because of the leadership in San Antonio. It's a left-wing leadership. It's happened in Colorado as well. You saw Space Force has actually been moved from Colorado to a red state in Huntsville, Alabama. So it's happening. And I'm concerned that this is going to continue to happen because we don't have anybody in Washington fighting for Fort Sam. So I'm working and making a commitment to people that I will work with you to lobby as much as I can to bring more missions, cyber missions, more medical missions, more technology missions to Fort Sam, so we can keep this area called Military City. Because it doesn't just affect Bexar County. It's all the surrounding areas. Is thousands and thousands of jobs that depend on Fort Sam Houston. And not just the jobs, it's the history. It's I took a tour not 2 or 3 months ago. It's an amazing history, and we have to fight to preserve that. And again, we do need to take care of our vets. They come first in my mind. There's no reason our vets should be suffering and not be having health care when we're giving out health care to the illegals that we were already talking about.
Yes.
There's so many great organizations, even just around here, that work with vets, and we need to continue to do that.
Mike Wheeler, a lot of politicians on the campaign trail will say, we need to fix this and we need to fix that. But I want you to share a real idea that you might have when it comes to maybe Social Security or debt or just what's the top priority for you?
Yeah. So the national deficit is my top priority. And I have actual ideas, I think, to fix it. These are discussions that we should start happening. By no means do I think I have all the solutions. But what I do have is the courage to go to Washington to bring these subjects up, start talking about it, digging deeper into it, and not just saying we can't do this, not letting special interests get in the way of it. So let's take the national deficit. Whenever we talk about our balance sheet in the United States, all we talk about is the $38.5 trillion of debt. But we have trillions of dollars of assets in this country. I've seen ranges between 60 to 120 trillion of assets. We have 630 million acres of land in this country. It's pretty incredible, though, that we don't know how many assets we have because we don't do an inventory in this country because we don't treat our government or country like a business. There should be a lot more of treating our country like a business. And that you have seen that with President Trump bringing in Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick and other business leaders. But let's say we have 60 to 120 trillion assets. Let's pick the middle. Let's say 90 trillion. Our return on those assets, and when I say return, I'm asking you, if you have a 401k and you're getting 6, 7, 8% return, you're pretty happy with that every year, 6 or 7 or 8%, right? On our assets in this country, we're getting about a 0.1% return on our assets. It's terrible. It'd be any portfolio manager out there would be getting fired for 0.1% return on our assets. We need to start leveraging our assets better. I have several ideas to start getting more out of every piece of land that we have, every loan that we give out at below market rates. We need to start treating our assets like it's a portfolio of assets. And how do we make money out of that? Is it loosening up regulatory environment to make miners and drillers able to access more land? That's one thing. Is it the royalties that we're getting off of this land? Is it the money that we're lending private equity firms, which we are actually lending private equity firms that are making a lot of money off of our money? They go invest in a company and they're making 50, 60% returns on their money. I want the U.S. taxpayer to not, again, I want to make it clear, I do not want the U.S. government being on any board of directors. I do not want the U.S. government picking winners and losers. I do not want the U.S. government having anything to do with business decisions. But as us taxpayers, we deserve more from the assets we have in this country. So I want to start looking at that, and we are looking at that. It's starting to happen in Washington, but it needs more people with market experience to start thinking that way. Less than 5% of people in the House of Representatives have any financial market experience at all, but yet they control all the debt. They control all the purse strings in this country. We need to start treating it like a business. If we could move our return from 0.1 to just even a 3% return, we're looking at $3 to $5 trillion of debt that could be reversed. If we were to announce that, you would see a rally like you have never seen before. You would see interest rates collapse. It'd be an amazing time in America. And I just think we need somebody with that type of a mindset to go to Washington and start talking about it.
Sounds like hope to me.
Yeah, I have a lot of hope. I mean, I do. I have a lot of hope. We can do it. But what we can't do is cut enough spending. We're borrowing $6.5 billion a day. It's insane. So I think Doge found 160 to 200 billion. What is that? That's like 30 days of borrowing they found. We need to keep doing it. Don't get me wrong. We need to cut that waste and fraud and abuse out. It's just disgusting. But it's not going to reduce that 38 trillion. We can't tax our way out of it, and we can't grow our way out of it. What do we have to do? We still have to think outside the box. How do we make more money to service that debt? And I think I have those ideas.
Excellent.
Another subject is Social Security. We don't have anybody in Washington with the courage to talk about Social Security. The people out there listening, they probably think, oh, it's okay. You've been saying that Social Security is not going to be here for the past 30, 40 years, right? But we're down to 8 years left. The fund only has 8 years worth of money in it left. After it runs out, there's either a 25% cut in the amount that you'll get, and that happens overnight, which will double senior poverty overnight. You either do that or you issue another $660 billion of debt every year that adds to our deficit. It's a lose-lose situation. So I want to go to deal with it now. I want to start talking about it now. I don't want to do what Washington usually does, which is wait till midnight 8 years from now and try to figure this thing out. I have solutions for that. One of the solutions is I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to raise the retirement age on anybody who's close to retirement. It's not fair. But those of us, not not anymore. I'm up in that category now too. But people who are say 35, 45, like we may have to a year. We may have to do that. But what we're going to do in exchange for that is say, listen, instead of paying 100% of your FICA to the U.S. government, you're going to be able to take some of that and go into an index fund. I believe firmly that money is better in the taxpayer's hand than it is in the government's hand.
Good.
I believe in the free market system. So as they get closer to retirement, Social Security is more of like added benefit to retirement, not something that's meant to be a backstop. It wasn't ever meant to live off of.
Right.
You know, when Social Security was formed, we had 40 employees for every retiree. Now we have 3 employees for every retiree. It needs to be fixed. Why people don't deal with it is because they always think it's cutting Social Security. It's not cutting Social Security. It's saving it.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
Again, we're talking with Mike Wheeler for Congress.com, MikeWheelerForCongress.com. info@MikeWheelerForCongress.com is the email address. And Mike, just kind of wrapping things up, you have an audience right here on Boerne Radio. Ask for their vote.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
I would really appreciate your support. I've given you my phone number. I want to win this race one vote at a time. I truly am a grassroots candidate who really cares about our community. I care about the local issues. We talk about a lot about national issues, and we've talked about that. But there are so many local issues such as water, the Green New Deal, which we didn't get a chance to get into. But we just had a major victory a couple weeks ago in the battery storage facilities.
Yes.
That's a fight that I took up a couple years ago with many other people in this county, and we're getting there. But I think it just shows how much I care about local issues as well, because politics is local. So I'm just asking for your vote. I'm asking for your attention to please look into it, find out what the real motivation is behind people running. We're sending too many people to Washington with the wrong motivation. So please come out and vote for me. Early voting starts on Tuesday, February 17th.
Hey, this is airing. It's airing. It starts today.
Yes, sorry. That's right. It starts today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And election day is on March the 3rd.
March the
officially.
3rd. That's March the 3rd.
But vote early.
Vote early.
All right. Will you be hanging out at the polls there?
I'll be everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to shaking your hand and a special prayer of blessing over you and protection and endurance. Go, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. God bless.
Mike Wheeler for Congress.com. And I thank you so much for listening to Boerne Radio, 103.9 FM. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Baron.